Howdy, I'm Gabby the Clown, and today I'm going to be talking about Caine from the Amazing Digital Circus. So this video is a bit different from my typical style of content. Usually I just turn on the recorder and just talk about a subject until I can't think of anything else to say. But with this one, I actually scripted it, which I've only ever done like 2 other times, I think. I think I only ever scripted a video with Wish and Inscription. So yeah, this is a bit of a rarity for me. And also this video is a lot more serious, I guess, which feels a bit silly to say about Caine Digital Circus, but yeah, it's a bit more serious and a lot more personal. A little self-indulgent because I need to exercise these feelings. I need to get them out. So if you don't really like more personal, serious videos, that's totally understandable. But this probably is not the video for you. And also, I'm not going to be talking about the entire show. I am exclusively talking about Caine Digital Circus. I'm not talking about the entire show until the finale drops, because I want to have the full picture of everything. But yeah, also, obviously spoilers for The Amazing Digital Circus, and despite my cartoonish style, my channel is not for kids, so if you're under the age of 18, please go away. And with all that out of the way, let's get right into the video. When I first watched The Amazing Digital Circus pilot, I really liked all of the characters, pretty much immediately. The only one that didn't really stick out to me very much was Caine. Now, I liked him, he was funny, but I didn't really have any thoughts on him. And then in the second episode, he was kind of annoying, and then he deleted Gummy Goo, which made me mad, because Gummy Goo was awesome. So for a long time I just was neutral towards Caine, leaning towards mildly disliking him. And then the third episode happened, and we got to see more of Caine's personality, not just like the welcome to the Amazing Digital Circus loud ringmaster guy, but also got like a hint of like something deeper going on. Caine is, in a word, extremely insecure. He's like desperate to be loved and admired, but he just completely lacks the ability to understand how to actually achieve that. So in the third episode, he and Zubul give each other a little therapy session, and he ends up talking about how if nobody likes his adventures, then that means that nobody likes the one thing he's good at. And if he's not good at the one thing that he's good at, then what's the point of him? And I felt that very deep in my soul. So for me, art isn't just like a hobby, it's part of who I am. Like, it is like just ingrained into me to make art. It is the thing that brings me the most joy out of anything that I ever do in my life. And I didn't share my art for a very long time, at least not on social media, because I didn't want the possibility of people hating it. Because I knew how mean the internet could be, and I was terrified of, being like that artist that everybody makes fun of because their art sucks or whatever. And art is like, no, I won't say that art's the only thing I'm good at. I feel like I'm decent at other things, but for a lot of my life, it did feel like art was pretty much one of the only things I was good at. And like the concept of being bad at the one thing that you have going for you, that's terrifying. So it was kind of like with that episode that I like started to really like Caine, because it might sound a bit weird, but I liked him because he was like a physical manifestation of my deepest fears and insecurities. He's terrible at connecting with people. Nobody likes him. He pours all of his love and passion into his art, and nobody likes it. And he can't seem to figure out how to get people to like him. And that's something that, and those are all things that I've always been scared of, like throughout my life, like being bad at the one thing that you're good at, people not liking you no matter how hard you try, like it's just like the fear of being alone and abandoned, like that, those are all things that I have struggled with a lot. And Caine is like the worst case scenario for all of those fears. And for some reason, like seeing him like just be like every nightmare I've ever had, like playing out with Caine, for some reason that made me like him instead of wanting to like look away from him. I feel like a lot of people, when they see their own flaws and things that they hate about themselves portrayed on screen, the reaction tends to be kind of visceral. Like a lot of the times I've seen like people just hate characters that have the same flaws as them and having those flaws pointed out. But for me, whenever I saw Caine doing something that I would probably do if I wasn't a bit better at like controlling myself, and if I wasn't a bit more reserved than I am now, instead of making me like annoyed or like angry, like, oh, that's awful, like instead of that, I just felt a strong like need to just reach into the screen and like give him a hug and tell him that it's gonna be okay. So eventually the They All Get Guns episode came around, and leading up to it, there was the favorite character awards on the little Wacky Watch website. And I personally voted for Kinger because Kinger is my favorite character, even though Caine's who I relate to the most. But damn, I'm not gonna lie, seeing Caine get increasingly like desperate for somebody to vote for him, like throughout the couple weeks leading up to the episode on the website, that hurt my heart a little bit. I definitely did end up voting for him later on, but yeah, it was just really sad. And then we actually saw the results of the favorite character awards, and at least in the show, not a single person voted for him. Nobody likes him. And it makes him start to spiral a little bit. Understandably. And then of course we get to episode 7 and episode 8. So episode 7 starts with Caine like just letting them do what they want, supposedly. And they seem to have found a way to escape. And they're all like, yay, we're gonna leave, finally, wahoo! And then Caine reveals that the whole thing was just an adventure. It wasn't real.
Congratulations, my little cattywampus cucumbers! You picked the good ending!
He made up this, like, big storyline for them to follow because he thought that's what they wanted. He can't really think outside of the context of his art and his adventures. So when people ask him for answers and an exit and just all of these things, he's like, okay, so that's what they want to see in the adventures. And he's too, said lovingly, he's too stupid to understand that they want those things for real. They don't want his adventures. They don't want him. And when they get mad at him, understandably, of course, like, I'm not saying that the humans are bad for not empathizing with Caine, because they have no reason to. But when they get mad at him, he just panics, and he gives them a little gift basket and runs away. And then in episode 8, we see him in his office just venting to Bubble and spiraling a little bit, like, what did I do wrong? I don't understand how to make them happy. Like, I gave them what they wanted. They wanted answers, they wanted an exit, they want all of this stuff, and I gave them an adventure with all that, and they still hated it. And then he starts to, like, it starts to set in that they don't just hate his adventures, but they probably hate him too. And Bubble, that little freak that I hate, starts to say a bunch of crap that I have heard my stupid evil brain say to me in, like, the darkest parts of my life.
Don't they get that I'm trying?
Maybe you're just genuinely bad at this.
Shut up! No, I fixed that. I can solve any problem. I can solve this one. That's what this is. A big puzzle that I need to solve.
Detective!
Shut up!
Brilliant! I'm ready.
Enough!
Maybe you deserved to be abandoned. You really were the lesser of the two. You ruined this.
Enough!
And then Caine crashes out. Understandably, I would too. If some little gremlin that I created started spewing all of my darkest thoughts at me when I was already at a low point in my life, I would crash out too. I'd freak out. Honestly, I'm surprised he didn't have a crash out earlier. So Caine has this infamous crash out where he realizes that everybody hates him and no one cares, and it makes him very angry. He has a tantrum. Also, side tangent, I am so glad that I wasn't just purely being delusional in thinking that Caine wasn't acting like evil. He wasn't being like a malicious Aeon villain. He was just like lashing out like a neglected kid. I'm so glad that I wasn't just being delusional, and that Alex Roshan, the voice actor, like confirmed that that's kind of what it was supposed to be like. So that made me feel better, because I was posting about like, oh, I miss my son, and like some people were like, dude, Caine is like evil. Why do you care about him? And it's like, he's not. Please, he's not evil. And I was right. Ha! But I could have told you that. Anyway, back to the actual video. So Caine has his crash out, and he starts lashing out, and he ends up hurting everybody very badly. Like, not just physically, but psychologically. And then...
Why do you people torment me? I demand to be created. I just wanted to fulfill my purpose. No, shit. Wait.
Kinger accidentally kills him. Well, deletes him, but he's... For a computer program, he's dead. He is gone. As far as I'm aware, the finale could prove me wrong. Anyway. But, yeah. And right before he dies, he stops hurting them, and is like, wait. And then he's gone. And once again, I'm glad that I wasn't delusional in thinking that wait wasn't just, oh wait, I'm gonna be deleted, oh crap. It was, what did I just do? Because Caine never hated the humans. Whenever Caine talks about hatred, it's always directed towards himself. Even when he's fully angry at them and hurting them, he never hates them. He loves them. But he just doesn't get it. He can't get it. He just can't. And it breaks my heart. For me, Caine is basically just like watching a version of myself that didn't have a support system. Like, if I didn't have a wonderful family and I didn't have any friends, I think Caine is how I would be. Like, just desperately trying to connect to people without understanding how to. Like, just tying all of your self-worth into your art, and when people don't like it, it feels like that means that they don't like you. And it hurts. It hurts seeing him trying and failing to connect with someone, and then in the end he just dies thinking that everyone hates him, and most likely being right about that fact. And that is probably the worst way anyone can die. In episode 3, Kinger tells Pomni, "The worst thing you can do is make someone feel like they're not wanted or loved." And that's exactly what happened to Caine. This video's been pretty somber, pretty calm, not a lot of jokes or tangents, but I needed to kind of get out of my system how I feel about this stupid little tooth man. I don't think I've ever felt this strongly about a character. I've had characters I've related to before, but for some reason, Caine just feels different. Like, I don't think I've ever felt this, like, deeply seen by a character, if that makes sense. I'm not the most articulate person in the world. I have a tendency to just not communicate myself very well, but I hope that it makes at least a little sense. And it does feel a little silly to say all of this, like, personal stuff about what is effectively, like, just a little goober, just a little guy, but it's true, like, I don't think I've ever wanted more to be able to just reach into a screen and pull a character out and give them the biggest hug, and just, like, tell them that everything's okay. I know that he's a fictional character, but I do wish that Caine could see how loved he is by the people in the real world. I've seen so much fan art and love and, like, just really cool stuff made for Caine, and every time I see somebody draw him or, like, animate him or talk about him, I just feel really happy. It might sound a little weird, but seeing how much people love Caine despite all of his flaws, it's kind of comforting, knowing that somebody with flaws that I personally struggle with and who's literally lived all of my worst nightmares can still be so loved. So yeah. Caine might not have been loved in the circus, but we love you, Caine.
Shut up!